Okay, hello everyone. This is part 4 of 3.3 hydrocarbons. In this video, we'll be covering, go to the third slide. So the second and third boxes there. Hydrocarbons are named systematically to provide ambiguous identification. So the naming hydrocarbons. And after that, the structural formula of a hydrocarbon can be deduced from systematic name. So that's about drawing the formula, structural formula from its names. What you need to be able to do after this video is to identify, name systematically, and draw structural formulae of hydrocarbons containing up to 8 carbon atoms in the main chain, with side chains limited to a maximum of 2 carbon atoms, one or more alkene group. So let's look at that. The slide that I would like to jump to is, I'm going down to systematic nomenclature. So that is slide 25. Okay, so let's talk about some rules here. So systematic name for the hydrocarbons. We'll watch this video that's in the slide together in class. But yeah, well, you can watch that if you want to. But the rules, there's something that I'm going to explain. Firstly, you need to be able to use the prefix here: meth, eth, prop, but, pent, hex, hept, oct, non, and dec. Now you're only expected to know up to 8, so as long as you can memorize meth, eth, prop, but for 1, 2, 3, 4 carbons, rest should be same as what you learn in geometry topic in math. That determines the number of carbons in a chain. So yeah, that's what you need to find out first. And secondly, sorry about that, the suffix, that's the ending, that depends on which homologous series the hydrocarbon is in. So if it's alkane, you have to use ane after the number of carbon, the prefix. Alkene, if it's alkene, you have to use ene. So in would be the end. Alkynes would be yne. So if you have 4 carbons in the chain, and if it had a triple bond, that would be butane with but and yne after that. Okay, and if there were a branch of carbons, you call that as alkyl group, alkyl, alkyl, and you have to put yl suffix after the prefix, so that shows the number of carbon. Now in year 11 course, you're only expected to know either 1 or 2 carbons in a branch, so either methyl group or ethyl group as branched of carbon. So that's what you'd have to know. Next, you need to know number of carbons that branch comes off from. So if there was a long carbon chain and say there were like 6 carbons and a branch happened at second carbon, that's the number you have to use. And for you to specify the number, and if there was a letter after that, you must use hyphen in between. So 2 hyphen and then hexane if there were 6 carbons and then there was 1 methyl group branch off. For multiple branches, write the number as many times as the branch is present, and you put comma in between numbers. So between numbers, you put comma. Between letters and numbers, you put hyphen, the dash going there. If you have more, if you had more than one of the same group, you have to use another type of prefix, which is di, tri, or tetra. Di is 2, tri is 3, like tripod, and tetra, like tetrapod, that you see at the beach or on the yacht harbor type of place. for example, now I've got a few examples there. First example is seen on the board there. So same as this is what you have on the slide as well. Firstly, what you have to look for is the longest carbon chain. Now this one's drawn fairly obviously. You start from this carbon. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the longest carbon chain you can find in here is 5. Now, that's why you would have to think about pent as the prefix. And do you see any other bond other than single bond? No. So the ending needs to be ane because it's an alkane. Now, you see two branched off carbon group. So this here, and a bit too high there. There you go. CH3 and CH3. So there are two groups of methyl group. It's one carbon, so it's meth with YL that's added for branch of carbons. So it's going to be 2-methyl, so dimethyl. You need to specify the position of where they're attached as well. Where are they on the long carbon chain? It's a second carbon. That one appears at second carbon and the other one appears at second carbon as well. So you would write 2, 2. As I said, you put comma between numbers. But after that, you have to write dimethyl, so you put hyphen. 2, 2, dimethyl. Sorry, you don't have to have space between dimethyl and pentane. So yeah, it's gonna be 2, 2 hyphen and then dimethyl pentane. Okay, so that's going to be the name. Now you might be thinking, what if you started counting this chain from the right? Now, if you do that, the numbers of this branched off carbon is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4th carbon. You would have to write 4, 4 dimethyl pentane. Now, another rule that I have to probably mention is that you have to make the numbers as minimum as possible. So 2, 2 is the right answer. If you write 4, 4 dimethyl pentane, you would get half the mark. Okay. All right. Now, let's go to the next slide. So if there are a number of different branches, then you write them in alphabetical order. You don't go with the position of those branches. You go with alphabetical order of those groups. Now, for year 11s, you would expect only methyl group or ethyl group, 1 carbon or 2 carbon branches. So ethyl would be appearing before methyl in the name that you write. Okay. So let's try that. So that's the example that I put in a lecture note as well. Let's count how many carbons are there in the main carbon chain, and we'll have to make sure that the numbers that branches appear are the lowest number as possible. The lowest as possible. All right. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This will appear. 5, 6, and 7. Okay. So the prefix for the long carbon chain would be heptane for it's going to be heptane because there is no double or triple bond in here. So heptane is going to be the ending. That's the root word. Let's think about this methyl group here. One branch and another branch that's appearing here. Methyl and ethyl. You have to put them in alphabetical order, even though 4 seems to be coming first. So the name for this compound would be 4-ethyl. Now it's going to be a number next because you have to say 3 as a position of methyl group. So 4-ethyl. 4-ethyl 3-ethyl. Every time you have number and letter, make sure you use hyphen. After that, you have to say the number of carbon in the maximum number chain, and you have to suggest which homologous series it is in. It's alkane, and it's 7 carbons, so heptane. So full mark will be given if you could name it as 4-ethyl 3-methyl heptane. Okay? So that's the name for it.